Hey, welcome back to the UC. We've got a ton of news, so I'm just going to jump right in. iiRcade is announcing a big new addition to their games library. This, I think, reflects the first time they've done console games. These are ColecoVision games, and I will put the list of games up on the screen. Now, I'd love to tell you I knew about these games and I know about ColecoVision, but I just got to be honest with you guys. I never went back, and this is before my time, and I never went back and played these games. Never had a ColecoVision, so I don't know these games, so I give you no commentary on them. But I do tell you that they're here, and I do tell you that iiRcade is shaping up to be quite a heavyweight with licensing games. I think once this launches, if the launch goes well and they move some units, they move whatever number of units they need to move for this to make sense, I think you're going to see even bigger name deals get involved. But they've already pulled in Sega, they've already got a pretty good games list, and they're up to 200 games now. And I'm ecstatic to see somebody adopt the DLC model. Sell us one arcade machine and let us pick and choose which games we want to add. I think that that is going to be a winning approach. Next up, the Ice Games store is now live, homearcadegames.com. And the store is divvied up into three different sections. Their Dome products, arcade, and pinball. Dome products are things like Super Checks and their soccer games, Super Kicks Pro. They've had these available for a while. What's new is that they're now selling arcade products. They're selling a home version of Ice Ball Pro. It is the same length as the commercial version. Their CEO misspoke in my interview and said this would be shorter. I honestly kind of wish it was a little shorter because I think it's going to be tough to get these into people's houses, and that space requirement is going to be a big deal. But all that said, we get NBA Game Time Pro, which I believe is smaller. I've been told is a little smaller than the commercial one because the old one was too tall for a lot of people's rooms. So this looks pretty slick to me. These two products, though, are really the new ones. The other stuff here, well, and the spider board. They're doing the spider dartboard, which looks dope. The other stuff's been out for a while. These are from a company called Chicago Gaming. They're simply being distributed by Ice Games. But man, look at this Miss Pac Man and Galaga. Right? That looks sweet. And what looks so good about it? Well, one, it's pretty much a full size. Two, it's commercial quality. And three, the monitor and the control panel are properly angled. Why can't we get a home version, a smaller version that isn't 275 pounds? Why can't we get a 90-pound cabinet that's angled this way? I don't understand it. Arcade1up has said recently they're working on it or they're looking at it for the future. But man, just give us that angle. That angle looks so sweet. So these are $3,000. There's no information yet on the Jurassic Park or any of the other Raw Thrills games, but that is coming. If they're able to secure that everything behind the scenes, you're going to hear about it very soon. Lastly, pinball. They're going to be selling Stern pinball machines. You guys, I got to just tell you a quick story. Stern Pinball, I watched an interview with their founder. I think his name is Gary Stern. And look, I know he's a legend, and I'm not a big pinball head, so who am I to talk about Gary Stern? But listen, here's my 2 cents. Gary, in an interview, talked about how everyone tried to get him out of pinball back in the day because pinball was in decline. Video machines were the new rage. Everybody wanted to play video games. Pinball was old school. He stuck with pinball. He was successful. I hope I'm not misquoting him, but that's what I remember the interview. And he just seems to, whenever I watch him talk, there's like this confidence, but honestly a little bit of arrogance too. And I don't blame him. Stern is the name in pinball. He owns that industry. He's the major player in pinball among other major players. But here's the thing. When you're really right once and everyone tells you you're wrong, man, that can screw you up. Because now what about next time? What about if you're wrong? What am I saying? Here's my point. I don't think Stern is doing enough to adapt to home pinball. Everybody else is racing to license with companies like Arcade1up and even Toy Shock at Games to get digital versions of their pinballs into the house. What is Stern doing? They're doing what they've always done. They're continuing to sell very expensive products. Now, they came down market a little bit from a $6,000 product to a $4,500 product, but most people say that's not a good value and you're better off with their Pro line. Look, these machines are beautiful, there's no doubt. But if these guys think they're going to maintain their sales volume at 6,000 bucks in an era when bars are shutting down and not buying new pinball machines, in an era where arcade operators are going out of business, they're crazy. They need to do something lower cost than this to get it into the house. Does that mean doing digital versions through partnering with someone like Arcade1up? Does that mean a $2,500 version of their pinball machine that is overall smaller? Look, I don't know. I'm just telling you they need to do something. And I think partnering with ICE is something because ICE is selling to the home market. But these are not re-engineered products for the home market. These are commercial products that you can buy through ICE. I think Stern needs to do more than that, but I'll get off my soapbox. Now let's look at the arcade offerings though. I do want to come back to this. The Ice Ball Pro, my God, this looks awesome. It's got the light up, it's got the play field, the exact same as the commercial. I'm told this is extremely high quality, even sounds great when you roll the ball. Looks beautiful, and it's completely customizable. Go through and you can pick and choose what you want. I mean, this is a real luxury product. Somebody who was thinking about what to do with their game room, they could buy a pool table for $6,000, or they could buy a couple of these. And I do think they're going to sell units. Anyone saying, oh, they're not going to sell any of these, you know, you and me might not have the money for this, but there are people out there that will buy this, and this does look pretty dope. All right, next up, I just did this in a community post earlier, and I really want to tell you guys about this. The Miss Pac Man cocktail cabinet I've been looking forward to for a long time. It is $450, and it is guaranteed for Black Friday pricing. And it's got a nice long return date too, past January. So take a look at this. If you're thinking about buying this, now might be the time to buy it. I did confirm from Arcade1up there will be no Miss Pac Man stool. And it sounds like because of licensing, but I don't know that for sure. So I'm assuming, and I really am just assuming this, but I'm assuming we're not going to see a bundle with stools because they don't have a Miss Pac stool. So I went ahead and ordered this, and then also ordered the Miss Pac stool that's on QVC or HSN, I forget which one, but they both have it. So I have picked that up. In addition, Golden Tee is now $250 right now at Best Buy. That is a fantastic price, great cabinet. Now, why might you not want to get the Golden Tee? Well, they are looking at a Wi-Fi version. John D said on Facebook the plan is to do a Wi-Fi version Golden Tee. I don't know when. I don't know if it's going to be that combo cabinet with Silver Strike. I don't know anything about it. All I know is they want to do a Wi-Fi version. I would assume a Wi-Fi version means leaderboards, but again, I don't even know that for sure. So you might want to hold off on Golden Tee and wait for the ultimate version, or you might just want to jump in now and pay $250. I'm very glad I have mine. It sits next to my pool table. It's going to sit next to my Big Buck Hunter soon, and I think that that's pretty cool. Last thing on Miss Pac Man cocktail, and I will have a full review for you with this when it's in, but I have a little bit of an issue with the stick and buttons layout, and I'm gonna talk about that in my review. But overall, I do think this looks really impressive. I might change out the sticks for a different a brand name stick, but we'll see. But keep an eye out for the review on that. And if you want to buy it now at this $450 price point, I will drop the link below. Next up, the Polaroid Photobooth has shown up now with photos at Arcade1up. And I look at this and I think, man, I don't see Arcade1up labeling anywhere. But it does say Arcade1up as the manufacturer, and when I asked John D about it on Facebook, I said, tell us about the photo booth. He said, I wish I could. Now, maybe he's trolling because this isn't their product. I don't know why I feel like this isn't their product. I just don't know why I'm not seeing Arcade1up written anywhere here. There aren't any questions or answers or anything about it. But for now, we're going to assume this is legit. It is Arcade1up, but this is what it looks like. How big is this? I don't know that either. I can't really tell. I mean, I don't know how big the images print out. I don't know. This looks a little weird to me. I thought this was going to be more of like the Star Wars bench cabinet where you sit down and maybe it's got a little curtain. For what this is, I can tell you for $400, I'm not buying that. Whether it's Arcade1up or it's just directly from Polaroid, it's not going to add to the game room kind of aesthetic. It's just a stand-up camera with a printer. I think if you're going to do a good product like this, it needs to look like something you would find in an arcade or a bar or something like that. That's not what this is. So that looks like a swing and a miss to me, but now we know what it does in fact look like. Speaking of listings on GameStop, guess what else is listed on GameStop? Marvel Pinball now has its photos up, but that's not really the news. The news is down here, and I got to thank my commenter, Lewis, for telling me about this. Scott B, who the CEO of Arcade1up is Scott Backrack. I would just about guarantee that's who this is. What games will be on the pinball machine? Well, check this out. There will be mini tables included, but due to licensing restrictions, the tables cannot be announced, publicly discussed, or listed on packaging. We guarantee you'll love it. They can't tell you what it is. Good God. Look, I'm not going to beat up Arcade1up for this because it's clearly not their choice. Right? They want to tell you what tables are included. They want to sell product. But Marvel or Zen or somebody is not allowing them to do that. That is insane. That sucks. Now, the question I have is that just affecting Marvel, or is that going to affect the other cabinets too. One of the things consistent with Arcade1up when they've talked about their pinball, they've played really coy about which tables we're going to get. And maybe this is why. Maybe we're not going to know any of the tables on any of the cabinets. For a general shopper, they might not care. They just see it's Marvel Pinball, they're going to get them, they're going to play them. For people like you and me, we might want to go try the tables out ourselves on Zen Pinball on our Xbox or something and decide what we want. It is very unfortunate that they can't tell you what tables they're getting. I wonder if it's because the tables are subject to change over time. I have no idea. I can't even begin to explain why Marvel or Zen or whomever did this would want to do it. It seems moronic to me, but what do I know? Speaking of pinball, we're going to get a virtual pinball table from Well Played Arcade. All right, so first up, the artwork doesn't look bad. I don't like the shape of the table very much. I don't like how sharp this angle is. It's got that same thing Arcade1up has where the proportions are a little weird because they got to get the height right, but it's kind of short. I don't blame them for that. That's nothing wrong with that. You can't really avoid it. The LCD is not recessed into the screen. I think that's really the best element of Arcade1up's design, and we're missing that here. But why would you be interested in this? Well, it's going to have Wi-Fi, and it is going to be expandable to add more tables. So that would be a reason to get this over the Arcade1up. This is going to be more of a competitor maybe to the Legends Ultimate Pinball, but it's smaller. It's probably going to be lower specs, but overall it's also cheaper, $500 versus the Legends Pinball, which is $600, which I'll be sure and report those details when they drop. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.